Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. The question today is, are people leaving the church? But the sub question is the why. If they are, why? So my first question of the day is to you. Are people leaving the church in droves? Do we see a leaving of the church? If you do, please put a yes in the comment section. Please put a yes. If you don't see that, please put a no. That's the first question of the day. I'm getting your minds pumping early. Are people abandoning the church? Yes or no? I have one yes. I'm going to write down these yeses and these noses. So let me one yes, one yes. Keep going. Another yes. 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 No. One no. It depends. My guy. My guy. You know, one of these days I'm going to have you on camera, bro. We're going to have you on camera. We're going to have you on camera. If for nothing else, your humor. But that is the pivotal question right there. You're jumping the gun, but I'll allow it. I will allow it for this one time for you to allow it to jump the gun. The theory is that people are leaving the church because of certain things. I've been seeing a few of this stuff popping up on YouTube of people abandoning, and they would mix the words faith and church. They would like cross them up. So they're leaving the faith and they're leaving the church and they're leaving this and they're leaving that. And I have no doubt that when the word said there will be a great falling away, that there is a falling away that's happening. My problem is that they are indeed conflating two things. And in their conflation, they're making things worse. Conflating God's body, which is the church, with a building or a group of people that meet with a certain thought process, they're not the same. They're not even interchangeable. It's not the same thing. If God adds you to his body, you're added. However, what I see today is a bunch of people that say what they're doing is the church, and they're not a part of God's body, but what they do is the church. And in order to stay in a certain church, there are certain criteria that must be met. You have to be able to do something, or they have to say something I like for me to stay. They have to be the kinds of people I like to be around for me to stay. It has nothing to do with whether or not they're actually following God, because in essence, they don't follow God either. But I wanted to play a series of pastors and people speaking on this idea of people, especially the youth, not going to or falling away from the church. Now, you will find a running theme, at least I did, maybe you might too. You'll find a running theme in the things they say and how they say it. And we'll dive into that particular thought process there. Okay? So listen up. Why did that go to something else? I don't understand why that went to something else. Let's play here.
And they get to college
There we go.
and they meet that first professor or those friends that ask some hard questions. And moralism just doesn't answer those questions.
And when these young people go off to college, very often they're not prepared, they're not equipped to deal with the professors of the day, many of whom are atheists or agnostics, and they just undermine these young people as they go into college, undermines their faith.
Again, okay, hold on.
Christian goes to university and some professor gives some argument that knocks the belief of God out of it.
If a professor can knock the belief out of somebody, the question then becomes, was it belief? Because yes, you can have indoctrination on both sides. You can have it a worldly indoctrination, and you can have a so-called Christian indoctrination. An indoctrinated child is not going to believe God. They'll believe their parents. They'll believe a statement. They will be told what to believe. They will not be having a personal faith. The problem here is that since we've been a bunch of people that have associated going to church with being Christian, the moment you remove the going to a specific place from their behavior patterns, you leave room for a doubtful stuff to set in. Here's what I mean. I went to church all the time with my parents. Okay, this is me. I'm going to go to church every Sunday, to the same church every Sunday. It becomes habitual. It becomes something I do. It's routine now. The control is that I get up in the morning, I go with my parents to this location, I leave with my parents back to the home, and then I repeat this every Sunday and every Wednesday. For as long as I've been from 13, and can remember, mentally I'm say I'm 13, and I'm going all the way till I'm about now 17, 18, and about to head off to college. So now the onus is on me to continue this habit of going to a church on Sunday. Now I don't have my parents with me. I no longer have this phantom pressure to keep going. And one Sunday I don't wake up to go to church on time. And I'm, of course, saying to church in the way people use it now. I don't mean God's body. So I sleep in, and it feels good. Like I ain't never slept in on a Sunday before. And then you realize during the time that church is going on, I could be doing something else. I get up and I turn on my TV and I just chill. That feels pretty good. I don't hate God. I don't hate my parents. I don't hate church, but I just didn't go. Now remember, the habit is always going. So then a little bit of guilt sets in and I go the following Sunday. But then I sleep in on a Wednesday night. I decide not to go. I go back to bed and I stay in that night, watch some TV, go to bed, wake up, go to school the next day. And then the Sunday, I get up, but I'm going, but I'm not really into it. And I decide I'm not going that Wednesday. Then the Sunday, I decide I'm not going again. Then my parents ask me, have you been going? Yeah, but I missed this last, and then they rebuke me. So I go back again for the next 2 Sundays. And then I realize, but they won't know that I'm not going. So I'll just tell them I went. You see? So it happens now that church to me was an activity. Church was something that I went to. Church was something that I participated in at certain days for a certain time block, and that was it. It was about God. They talked to me about God, but it was never for God. And so you establish this idea. It's not just teenagers and college people. These are people that go and they know full well, I don't really want to go. I'm going because my parents made me go. I don't have any real faith of my own. But then I fall under these people that tell me all this stuff about church isms, like you're about to hear.
The universities are challenging them with their worldview, or teaching them a naturalistic worldview that's contrary to what they were raised in. They don't have the tools to debate against those things and respond objectively and rationally.
Well, they don't have to respond rationally. And this is where I have a problem with apologetics. I'm going to catch some flack for this, but you know me, don't care. The apologetics movement, while there is some value to it, relies too heavily on trying to prove to people, looking for humanistic standards in proof, and it does not rely enough on my belief and faith that God says who he is, and I just believe it. And I don't need to convince you of anything other than he's real. That's it. If you don't believe it, then you don't believe it. I think we can get so caught up in these apologetics and the time frames and the dates and the books and the scrolls, and you look at evolution, you look at the biology, and I look, all that's wonderful. And it may convince a few people, no doubt. But I do believe that we can run into somebody who knows more than you. And if they know more than you, they can convince you to look at what you know as not enough to convince anybody. And you don't end up convinced after they're done with you. See, but for me, with faith and belief in who God is, it cannot be disputed. There is no dispute in my mind about who God is that I know he is belief-wise. That might sound weird, right? Knowing and belief. I'll tell you what I mean. Someone coming up to me and says, well, God doesn't allow this and does not. I say, okay, good, he doesn't. And you're just going to follow blindly? Yes. How could you? Because he asked me to. There's my defense of my faith. But how do you know that evolution, if it happened, it happened? I still believe God. What's your point? We don't teach children or even people anymore that coming to faith to just believe God anymore. It's always God and then tangible proof of this history, this biology, and that. We always want to go into something else. Here's the problem. Everybody else has a belief about those things too. And they may have their own way of proving you wrong in that arena. You know where they can't prove you wrong? Your faith. They can call it blind. They can call it misplaced. They can do all that. They can call it that. It's still your faith. But if you don't have that, you have to rely on something else, something that can be manipulated. This is why people stop fellowshipping. They stop believing in God. I don't think they really believed in God. They had a form of belief in something, a structure, church. They did not follow God.
Class, I'm your cool new teacher, not some scary guy with a secret evil agenda.
We really didn't see anything statistically significant of some of the things that we say. You know, they go off to college and the atheist professor convinces them that their faith isn't real. We didn't see that as at a statistically significant level in the research.
Yeah, this isn't God's Not Dead.
It's not enough.
And if you've seen God's Not Dead, I did. I watched 1 and 2. It is in a perfect world kind of setting. You will not probably have this kind of conversation with your professor. It's probably not going to be allowed, at least in today's world. But I don't believe that the classroom would be a place for the conversation anyway. I appreciate the fact that they're trying to tell people to stand up for their faith. I do want people to do that. And I want people to be able to say, yes, I believe, and I believe because God said what he said. How can you just believe something without? That's why it's called faith. Faith. Hope for, not seen, hope for. It is very difficult to convince somebody who does not want to be convinced about God. Which is why I tell people I'm not in the business of convincing anybody. I'm not going to try to convince you. There is no convincing the unconvincible. I'm not trying to. I simply tell you what I believe, where I stand. If you want to know more about where I stand, I'll happily share it with you. But the goal isn't to convert you. I don't convert anybody. I introduce you to the person that will convert you. I introduce you to the person who will change your worldview. I introduce you to him. The rest of that is up to you. Because I don't want people following God because somebody told you that you should. That's not the way. That's why we end up with the situations of people leaving the church.
That you don't believe. You need all of us to not believe with you.
Why don't you admit the truth? You just want to ensnare them in your primitive superstition.
What I want is for them to make their own choice. That's what God wants.
You have no idea how much I'm going to enjoy failing you.
But maybe it's not the professor himself, but the dangerous science he's teaching.
I don't understand evolution.
Now, again, this is where you're going to end up being a more of a problematic situation. Okay, hear me out. We face a dilemma going forward. And I think what we've encountered is there is a group of people that see people not going to church, not following God, going in their own way, and we start to worry. We start to stress. We start to say, oh my gosh, the world is going to hell and we need to do something about it. You know what we forget? We forget one very important thing. And I think that if we were to bring this mentality back, we might have a better time walking this walk. I will read to you what we forget. And we don't tell people often enough. Okay? So let's go to Matthew chapter 7. We'll start at verse 7. This is important, very important for us to remember. Please remember this. If nothing else, remember this. Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and it will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds, and to him who knocks, it will be opened. You'll hear people say, I did, and I didn't, and I did, and I didn't, and I know I did all this and it didn't happen. What did you ask for it to be given to you? You asking for stuff? Or are you asking for salvation? What are you asking for? What door are you knocking on for it to be opened? A door for success? A door for reach? A door for money? A door for fame? Or are you asking the door to salvation? He who asks, receive. What are you asking? Are you asking for the Holy Spirit to indwell? Or are you asking for stuff? Verse 9. Or what man is there among you who, if his son asks for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks for fish, will give him a serpent? If you then, being evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father who is in heaven give good things to those who ask him? What's good? What is the good? His Son is, salvation is, eternal life is. All those things are good. Everything else after that can be used for ill. So is it good? Just a quick question. Therefore, whatever you want men to do to you, do also to them, for this is the law and the prophets. And this is the part what we forget. Enter by the narrow gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leads to destruction. And there are many who go in by it, because narrow is the gate, and difficult is the way which leads to life. And there are few who find it. We seem to be starting to count the success of Christ by numbers, not quality, numbers. And we get worried about people leaving the church and not attending the church, and they just stop coming to church. If that is how you disciple, if that is your marker for people being faithful, I don't think you understand what faithfulness is. There are tons of people who attend meetings on Sunday, calling it church, and have no love for God. They don't even know the man. They have no concept of who he is. In fact, he becomes something of a gift giver. Um, he is one now that you love because he gives you stuff. He's just the best because, man, listen to how amazing he is. It has nothing to do with your walk. It really doesn't. That is the crazy part. We don't really want to admit some very important things here. And the important thing is this: we have become a generation of what people see and what people expect of us has become our normal way of living. We don't really have relationship with God anymore. We don't really believe he is who he says he is. And until he gives us the stuff we want, we really don't trust him. He's not trustworthy until he gives me stuff. I want you to hear something real quick. We are going to listen to this guy. I know you don't like him, and I don't either, but hey, I think it's essential to hear because this is where we have come to. Okay, this is where we are now, whether we like it or not. This is where things are going with preaching. Okay, this is where it is. And I want you to be just listen carefully to hear why it is that people are going the direction they're going. This is why they're going that way. Okay. You may know this man by the face alone. And if you do, I'm not sure congratulations is the word we want to use, but you're welcome. Listen to this one.
Came for the festival, heard that Jesus was on his way to Jerusalem.
I'm going to back it up a little bit.
Look at verses 12 and 13, John chapter 12, verses 12 and 13.
Listen.
Grateful for all the men that came yesterday for our Gideon's army and all of our sisters who are here for our circle with the sisters. Amen. Amazing. How our church is growing. John chapter 12, verse 12 and 13. Once you found it, once you say, I got it. The next day, the great crowd that had come for the festival heard that Jesus was on his way to Jerusalem. They took palm branches and went out to meet him, shouting, Hosanna. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the King of Israel.
Now, that's not the part I want you to listen to. It's coming up. But we stop there. If that passage was what was actually expounded to the masses, who would it be about? It would be about Christ, right? And it would be about you getting to know the Christ. Would I be wrong? Okay, cool. What he is going to do next is prove to you why church isn't about God anymore. And it will show to you why people stop going and become angry at God, not at the pastor that lied to them, at God. Because they genuinely believe the pastor still is telling the truth, even though the result proves otherwise.
The next day, the great crowd came for the festival, heard that Jesus was on his way to Jerusalem. They took palm branches and went out to meet him, shouting, Hosanna. You may be seated.
You notice where he stopped the second time. Keep that in mind.
I want to preach for a little while today using as a subject, what took you so long? What took you so long? Turn to the person beside and say, that's all I want to know. Yes. What took you so long?
Now remember, this is a conversation about Jesus walking through on the donkey, palm branches down, Passover stuff. Remember that. This is the first introduction in the Messiah-like greeting that Jesus gets. Okay? It is about Jesus. Please make sure you understand this. And the reason I'm showing you this does matter with the topic today. It really does.
Adolescents who were raised old school were tutored in the principle and merits of delayed gratification, which is essential for developing self-control. But very few of us, present company included, were ever introduced to delayed appreciation.
Who has it become about now? Remember, the topic of the verse is Jesus. That's who the verse is about. Where do you think this is going to end up? Where do you think this is going to end up? Here we go.
That's different from delayed gratification, delayed appreciation. And that is the rare capacity to achieve without affirmation. Delayed appreciation is countercultural because it's delaying the need to feel appreciated. For people with goals, this is hard to gulp in the throat. It's akin to writing a book, but popping no cork for completing a chapter.
Mind you, this is about Christ, the passage, but not really.
Encourage himself.
This has become the new
appreciation
way.
Is powerful. A silent father.
This is how it goes.
You have found the capacity.
Everybody now is becoming the person.
Something is
the
about
main character.
to click. And his popularity had swarmed all. You pushed yourself across the finish line.
Now here's the rest of it.
Even though you had no fans in the stands, you have found the capacity to blow yourself balloons. And you keep confetti in your pocket just so that you can cheer yourself on. It is for this reason that I wanted to pause on Palm Sunday.
Here we go.
Because at this point in antiquity, Jesus has been in ministry for 3.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted you to pay careful attention and zoom in the high power objective to note that Jesus's name and his popularity had swarmed all over Jerusalem.
Popularity, make sure you keep that.
And for the life of me, I can't figure out what clicked in the conscience of the crowd that said, do it now.
The crowd wasn't behind it. The crowd wasn't behind it. Jesus said, to multiple people at multiple times that his time had not yet come. He kept telling people his time had not yet come. It wasn't in the purview of the people to decide that. It was his Father's will to decide that. Every time you hear people tell a story about how mankind and human relate to Jesus, they always come with the fanfare side of Jesus. They don't come to the side where he has been crucified. Accolades is where they go to. And this is going to get crazy.
Something is about to click for people about who you are. For 3.5 years, they had never thought it prudent enough to celebrate Jesus with a parade. And on this day,
I wonder why.
Jesus didn't have a new hairstyle. He hadn't bought a new robe. He didn't slip on brand new sandals. Was not wearing a new suntan, nor did he give a eloquent speech. But suddenly they have a different perspective on who he is. And might I serve this as a warning that people are about to view you differently. The scales are getting ready to come off of their eyes. They're about to finally see that you are not average, but you are extraordinary. You are wife material because you've been cut from a different cloth. You can run the department while walking in your sleep. You are well put together and folk don't know you almost fell apart.
This is why people don't understand the church. The church has become about them. He just took the parade that Jesus was a part of, that many didn't catch that he was actually the Messiah at the time. There were a few that did. But his triumphal entry was the only fanfare he would ever get. And it wasn't even with full recognition of who he was. He just took that and made it about the women, especially in his congregation. People are going to start recognizing who you are. They're going to start giving you accolades. It is about you. And when it doesn't happen, the first person that gets the blame for it not happening is God. So what's the first thing to go? Church attendance. The first thing to go, fellowship. The first thing to leave, following God. It's done. You didn't give me what I was told by this clown that I was going to get. This buffoon told me that I would be recognized. This guy told me, who stood up there, who's trying to save his bald head by keeping a little bit of hair and putting a part in it, he's trying to convey, told me that this was going to be what I was getting, and I didn't get it. He even said that it was just like when Christ got stuff and I didn't get it. Why? God must not be real. And so-called faith wavers. So when faith wavers, it's no real faith, by the way. That's not faith at all. You're looking at fortune. You want something. You're asking God for your stuff. When you don't get it, he's the first to go. You want to know why the so-called idea of people leaving the church is taking precedence now? Because people have become disillusioned. They've gotten to a place where all the talk that these pastors have been doing, that the parents have been doing, have met real world issues, and it doesn't hold up. It doesn't hold up at all. In fact, the world will win because now they're telling them that you don't have to change a thing. What your parents told you, your pastor told you, is not real, obviously, because it doesn't work for you, right? Good. We have a way that will work. All is required of you is to be nice to people and live your life. You want to make sure that you have intercourse with everybody you want? That's fine. Just do it safely. You still care for people. You're still a good person. Don't worry about all this nonsense about trying to live a way that's impossible. Why go to church at all? They're hypocrites, remember? They keep telling you that things are going to happen and it doesn't happen. That's a hypocrite. These are the same people that will do all the stuff they're telling you not to do, but they act like they're not doing it. So don't listen to them. Do what you got to do. In fact, live it out loud. Live it out loud. Live it out loud. What you worried about? You think a teenager coming out of their parents' house, going into college, is going to have the easiest time not being promiscuous? And then, of course, you have someone telling them, not. Who are you hurting? The person that you're with wants it. You want it. How is that bad? There are all these options out there, and they all want to do it with you. Why is it bad? Who is it hurting? It has to hurt somebody for it to be bad. What do your parents know? They've already lived their life. Now they're trying to control yours. What good has church ever done for you, really? And you know what? You can't answer that. There is no good you can tell them. I do potlucks and they give me some stuff once in a while. But what good is it? You can't say. You can't say. But establish a real, genuine relationship by understanding who you are before Christ. Your questions completely change towards him. It is no longer, what am I going to get from you? It is, thank you for what you already gave me. It is not asking him for more and more stuff. It is, Lord, teach me to be grateful with what I have. It goes from, hey, God, when are you going to give me this, this, and this, to, you have given me more than I will ever need in life, and I thank you. That's where they'll stay. And so no matter what people bring you, they can't bring you anything you don't already have. The apologetics, however, they focus on tangibles, the provable. But you know what? The people that will take that proof will say, I hear you all saying that, but in my world, I can still do what I want to do. You can go ahead and do what you do. This is how quickly the world can do this. The world has no problem telling Christians, you do what you do. I like what I'm doing. Leave me alone. Some reason Christians can't do that. For some odd reason, we can't say, if you've chosen that, you've chosen that. What you can't say is you didn't know and you weren't told. We have a problem doing that. Every man has a choice to make about following God. And if they don't want to, they don't want to. You either get to, all you get to do is plant a seed. That's all you get to do. What I don't have the option of doing is saying, I'm planting the seed, and then I'm going to sit here and wait and make sure that this buds. You couldn't even do that with plants. You can't coerce a plant to grow. You can't escalate it based on your wishes. It will never instantaneously happen. Never. But somehow we want that for people who don't believe in God. We want the impossible. You are not responsible for their belief. You're responsible for introducing them to God. God brings the increase, not you, not me, not anyone. I am simply here to tell you, if you don't want it, you don't want it. I'm not going to beat you over the head with it for 5 hours. You don't want it. Okay. Don't take it. That's it. You care about my soul? Well, you don't. I keep telling my kids the same thing. I'm not going to care more about your future than you do. I am not going to waste time and money and effort when you don't at least reciprocate some sort of energy. Give me something to work with. You say you want to play football? Perfect. I'll buy the pads, the cleats, the mouth guard, the ball cup, all of it. I will buy all that for you. Let's go play football. Then you get on the team and you want to sit on the bench and you don't want to do anything because it's too rough of a sport after your first hit. But you still want to go because you can hang out with your friends. I am not paying for that. I'm not driving you to any location so you can hang out with your friends when I spent money on football, gear, and everything else. Nope. You want to go out of town with your friends to watch the game but not play, but you want to be on the team. Nope. Because you don't want to be on the team. I'm not paying money for you to do nothing. That's a waste of my energy, time, and resources. Because you are not putting in to the thing you say you want, but you're expecting me to do it. The same thing with people who are coming to say, oh, you believe in God? Yes. Why should I believe in God? I didn't say you should. Well, you don't care about my soul? Do you? Do you care about your soul? Now, if you have a question about your soul, I can answer those questions. But if you don't care about the soul, why am I telling you anything? You have no concern about it. In fact, I can sit here and talk till I'm blue in the face about what will happen to you, and you just laugh about it. Then you laugh about it. I'm done talking to you. I don't need to debate you about it. I'm not here to coerce you about it. Browbeat you. You chose. God loves you, yes. He loved us so much that he gave an option for us to get away from the punishment due us. But if you are at the point of view that you don't need that, then you don't need it. We know you do for the sake of your soul, but you don't. I will simply tell you where the benefits lie, what you are before God. And if that's not what you want, then you don't want it. But we force people to keep going to these assemblies and say they're Christian because they're going to church. And when they get bored and they fatigue out, people are leaving the church, but they were never part of God's body, the church. They met with a bunch of people who made them feel secure at one point, and then that security left them. So they left that gathering. They didn't leave the church because they were never a part of it. Today, there are many people who just go to a gathering, call it church, and think they're there. They are not a part of God's church. They're not a member of the church. Because in order to be a member of his church, he has to be the head of you. And that has to be known, accepted, wanted, and loved. If that's not what it is, you're not a part of the church. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but if he's not the be all, end all, top and bottom, then you're not a part of the church. You go to gatherings. You follow an assembly. You are part of a denomination, but you're not a part of the church. You're not a Christian. Christ is the be all and end all of it. He's the catalyst for you joining the body. He's the door. He's the word made flesh. You are not. You are not the point of view. You're not the emphasis. You're not the main character. You're a servant. The quicker we get that to our youth, to make them understand, the quicker we get that to people to help them understand, the less excuse they're going to have, one. But the better understanding they'll have when they do decide that this is not about me. This journey is not about me. It's not about me. It's about what he can accomplish for his name's sake, not for me. Not what legacy I'm going to leave people. I might end up leaving a legacy in people's eyes, but my goal is not my legacy. I wish I could find that song. It's in the back of my head, and I'm thinking that's the name of it. I wish I could remember the title. Let me see if I can find it like this. Nope, cannot find it. When I do find it, I'll let you know. I'll put it up on my channel. Let me see if I can do it this way. I can remember the words. Let's see if this is it here. Can't find it. Anyway, part of the song is "What Will They Say?" What will they be saying after you're dead? Will they say Jesus was your only example and that you served him as best as you could? The question is not whether or not you were seen in life as a wonderful person. The question is, will you be seen in life as someone who gave their life to Christ, and that was the only thing that mattered to you? If that's the legacy you live, then that's the best legacy to have. That's the best legacy to have. But unfortunately, today, people just want to be seen for what they want to be seen for, not Christ. That's what the running thing is now. Unfortunately. And that is a sad reality of where we are right now. My question to you is this. Is this life that you're in right now something that you can look back when you're closing in at the end of it all. Something that you can say to people, I point them to one person and one person only, and if that's all I did, I've done well. Or will it be the kind of legacy that you leave where people say, man, he really went to church a lot. Every time I saw him, he went to church. Man, every time I saw him, he was getting dressed to go to church on Sunday. Every Sunday, he put stuff in the collection plate. I hope that's not the legacy you're hoping for. I really hope that is not what we're aiming for in this life. Is the recognition by mankind about the things that you did. Because this is not about that. Essentially, it's about the things that you have handed over to Christ. And if you didn't, you might want to start. And it's an awesome thing when you do hand it off. But when you don't, it eventually will hurt you, not him. It doesn't hurt him in the way that you think it will. Okay, good. Found a song. Now I just got to find the song. If I can just find the song itself now. If nothing else, I'll at least play the clip of it so you can have at least the idea. The song is on an album called Prime Time. It's Prime Time by a musician called Keith Lancaster. Keith Lancaster is a fellow I used to record with. And it was a really, 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 really good song. He's a good guy, wonderful guy, love the guy. Very, very committed to God, very committed. Recorded with him when I did my recording with a cappella back in the day. And this is the intro to the song. At least this is a portion of it for you to hear, okay? Just so you know what it says, what it sounds like. Here it is. What will he say?
What will they say? What will they say? Will they say Jesus was your holy example, and that you followed him best that you could? Will they say that your life made a difference to the people who knew you best?
That's a song. The question here is this. When everything is said and done, are you just going to be somebody that knew how to show up on time on Sunday? Or did you have a reason for being there for the person it was about? If at the end of your days, all they know you for is how you dressed on Sunday properly, you had a spot, a very specific spot in the building, you were always very cordial, you were so happy all the time, but they had no knowledge of how much you knew who God was, I dare say you may have missed the point of your life. This is the album cover here. It's called Prime Time by Keith Lancaster. You more than likely will find it on Amazon. It's on Spotify, I believe. I don't know if this particular album is. But I'm not in the habit of promoting necessarily, but you can buy the digital album here for only $10. Great little album. No instrumentals, just, singing. These are the people I recorded with back in my day when I sang. Don't do that anymore. Good luck with that. Good luck with that, Chris. I've hung that up. I've hung it up. I sing to myself. I sing to him when I'm ready, but I don't do that in the public no more. Unless he tells me otherwise. But the point is this. People are not here for themselves. People should be here for God. And God is the person that we should be about, period, point blank. And if he's not the emphasis, you might be doing it for yourself. You might be doing it for yourself. Lakeisha ended up in the wrong chat. She's supposed to be in Corey's channel, apparently. So is he live right now? Is that what's happening? Is Corey live right now? Let's see if he's live right now. He's not live, so wrong chat indeed, Miss Lakeisha. Wrong chat indeed. Not that we don't want you here, but this ain't Smart Chat Christian's channel. I know I don't look like Corey because I got hair. I have hair. He does not. Okay. He couldn't grow it. So he went bald. I can still do a fro. So I'm pretty proud about that. He says bald people are the best, but I don't agree with that. We each have the right to be wrong, and Corey just chose the wrong answer. That's all. He's okay. It's not a life or death, heaven or hell issue. He just happens to be wrong. People with hair are just better. I'm sorry. We just can't. Just because you can't don't mean you're better off. It's unfortunate for you, Corey Minor. I'm sorry, but more power to you, though. I can still do my fro, and I can take it down low, He ain't gonna hear that, but I'm just wanting to know if you guys are familiar with Corey Minor on Smart Christian's channel. Tell him I said that. Tell him I said that just because he thinks that having no hair is best doesn't mean he's right. Biblically, I'm more right because it tells me in the book I'm supposed to grow, and I'm just using my hair as part of that growth. He, on the other hand, is behind the 8-ball. Cue ball. He can't grow it. So technically, I'm a little bit more Christian than he is. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Jealousy is a bad thing, Corey Minor. Don't be jealous of my hair. And I'm not jealous of your bald head. But you wear your head perfectly fine, the same way I wear my hair perfectly fine. We each have our strengths. You can appeal to the people that can't grow, and I can appeal to the people that can. We work together for the kingdom, buddy. We work together for the kingdom. Heard where? Heard where? You didn't hear me nowhere. You didn't hear me at all. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you are on, CJ. I don't know what you're talking about. It's not me. Either ways, love you guys, mean it. And if you do have somebody that is confused about their walk, and they keep being told that this is about getting what they get, please remind them this is not about them. Our walk is about him, not us, him. If he wants us to be somewhere, he'll put us there. What he wants out of us for his kingdom is the focal point. If we can't get that, you won't get very much from being an attendee at church. You'll have a good track record. Past that, you won't. Scrolling at the bottom is your options for helping with this platform, if that is indeed something that you want to do. You've spoken to God about it. Feel free to. Savage Pages will be on later today at 6:30 Eastern. Glenn will be starting with us on Monday. You get to meet the new addition to Savage Patriots, at least interim, until we know more about whether Coy will be back. But you won't miss much because he is, like I say, just the black version of Coy. Literally, if you look at him, bald with a beard, just black. Heavier set guy, bigger guy, bald, beard, but black. It's a black Coy. We'll call him Decoy for now. That'll be his little nickname, is Decoy, until he comes up with a different name for himself. Coy has some family issues going on where he has to kind of pay more attention to it. So he's taking a step back from online presence right now. And so we're giving him, like I said, family time is important. He needs to take care of his family. Some illnesses and stuff going on. So he wants to pay more of attention to it. So we're giving him that time. But we like the 4-person dynamic. And so we kind of did some reaching out to people, and Glenn said he'd be more than willing to do it. And he's a wealth of information, well-spoken, all that stuff. So he'll be joining the crew on Monday. And if Coy does come back, we'll just leave it at 5 and make it all 5 of us on screen, which is good with us too. That's fine. That's perfect. So we want more intelligent folks on the crew anyway, so it'll work out perfectly for us. Anyway, Letitia James is a topic today for Savage Patriots. And if you haven't yet gone to check our videos that are dropping on Too Strong, please go do that, because we are under some massive, when I say massive, we are under some massive shadow banning. They're doing stuff to us I would have never thought would happen to Too Strong. We are in some dire straits right now with views. So if you don't mind, go grab those videos and plaster them as many places as you can. Please. We are talking about a video will be up for 18, 20 hours and only getting to 300, 500 views. That is ridiculous. So if you can help, please do that. Please get that out there, because in all honesty, that channel is where most of the income will be coming from via YouTube. And once that goes awry, everything else goes to pot. So it'd be helpful to get that moving. And it has been really crazy. Like, I mean, we found some stuff out that I would have never thought that I would have been living a whole different life if YouTube wasn't playing their games. Whole different life. It's insane. So anyway, help us out. Get our stuff out there for as many people as you can. And we'll catch you guys later today on Savage Patriots. Love you guys. Mean it. Have a grand rest of your day. Wisdom calls to you from the streets. So please, please, please find wisdom. Peace.
Hold tight the dreams, for if dreams die, rely on your